Hey everybody, this is Joseph Pasek and welcome to the Fired Up Network. Welcome to the On the Mat Wrestling Show with my friend, my good friend Xeina's back. First of all, Xeina, before we talk about Backlash, yes, hi.
Hello.
How did you think of WrestleMania? What did you think of WrestleMania? Was night one better, night two better? And what about you can't see him, John Cena, the champion?
I thought it was a very good WrestleMania, and I feel like night two always feels more grand than night one, and this year was no exception. And if people know me, like if anyone who follows me is watching right now, they know that I'm a certified John Cena hater, and I've been for many years. But even I have to give him his flowers. It was a big moment, and it was, a career-defining moment even for a superstar like him. And he broke the record, and it was just special. It felt special.
So here's I'm gonna what people have talked about with me since WrestleMania. Does he stay at 17 or they make him champion, losing the title, then winning the title again before December? As I heard rumors that he may leave as a 20-time champion.
Oh.
Would you like to see that, or would you? Is that too much back and forth with the title?
Yeah, honestly, I wouldn't want to see that because it would feel almost manufactured to do it so many times in this short period of time. It wouldn't feel authentic and it wouldn't feel as meaningful. So, also, I think we need to leave a little room for future superstars to break some records too. So we don't need to make it that steep. So I think, just this one time is enough, I think.
All right, so yeah, automatic. You're already saying he's going to win the main event, but we'll touch about the main event of Backlash in St. Louis this Saturday, May 10th, 7 p.m. And this Saturday, by the way, side note, there's a lot of happening in wrestling, in sports. I know you're attending an event in Florida on Saturday. There's a
Yeah.
big card here at Maple Leaf Gardens, the famed Maple Leaf Gardens from Scott D'Amore, Maple Leaf Pro Wrestling, and everybody from WWE, AEW, Josh Alexander, every organization you could think of is going to show up at this Maple Leaf Gardens event. But let's get to back Lewis. This could be a show stealer match for the Intercontinental title. I can't believe I'm going to say this. Dominic Mysterio is the champion versus
Oh no.
Penta.
I mean, that's going to be a great match regardless. But I'm a big Penta enjoyer, a big Penta fan. So obviously, I'm Team Penta. And I think Dominic Mysterio has a lot going on for him. He's had some very good feuds. He's had some very good storylines. He's aligned with some of the most gorgeous women in the world of wrestling ever.
Much
He
like
has
me.
his Yeah, pretty much. He has his name, he has his accolades, his legacy, everything. He doesn't need a title on top of that. And how special would it be to see Penta win his first title in WWE? I do almost feel like Backlash a lot of the time is a filler pay-per-view because it's just so tightly wedged between WrestleMania and Money in the Bank and like all the other significant events. So maybe that's not the biggest stage for someone to win their first title at, but also Penta had just recently started in WWE, so why not? That could be a great first step towards bigger things.
Well, I agree and I disagree. I don't think he's going to win the title now at Backlash, but how apropos is it on June 7th? They have Money in the Bank, and the 3 hours before they have Worlds Collide, where the AAA
Yeah.
organization. I could see him winning a title June 7th. So maybe they do a schmoz here and then a rematch June 7th. And all Latinos, it's Los Angeles, right? So I think they're going to plan something like that. So I think Dominic, unless he shaves his mustache or whatever, or his hair, and Liv Morgan is not there. She's filming a big time movie. So I think Dominic's going to retain, but lose it the next event, Premier Live event. Now for the U.S.
You know
title.
what? Actually, I agree with you. Actually, you're making a lot of sense. And
Oh,
yeah, it would be so much more special for Penta to win his first title in front of a more Spanish-speaking crowd. That would be even more special. So yeah, definitely.
maybe it's Ray Phoenix that wins it. I didn't say Penta's going to win it. I just think something's going to happen in the Los Angeles crowd and everything like that. It just makes more sense. Not that Dominic Mysterio is not a valid champion, and he's
Right.
sort of Latino too, so he could keep it also. But and then you push it back to July or August, SummerSlam, a 2-night New York, a lot of Latinos también. So put it that way. But next match, another good match here. U.S. title on the line. Jacob Fatu, Drew McIntyre, LA Knight, and Damian Priest, a 4-way match. I think this is it's a title match, and I think this is a match to make Jacob Fatu the real, like tribal chief, put it that way, because he's got one of the top 4 other than Seth Rollins or Roman Reigns. There, LA Knight is up there in the mid card. Damian Priest is up there, and all that. So I think Jacob Fatu retains the title, and he's going to be a machine. What do you say?
I agree with that. I think this is a good opportunity for WWE to elevate Jacob Fatu and to showcase him as this powerhouse that he is and that they're trying to present him as, because with the whole bloodline storyline, there's just so much going on and there's so many people involved that I feel like we haven't had a chance to take a proper look at Jacob Fatu and as a champion and as a fighting champion. So I think that could be a good opportunity to showcase that.
And you talk bloodline. I hear little birdies, and usually my birdies are right. That Roman Reigns is coming back. Exactly, Roman Reigns is coming back with a new faction, and it's not tribal chief or bloodline or whatever. So just listen to the little birdies when they talk, okay? So, and I'm not saying he's coming back Saturday, but I think that Los Angeles thing could be huge, put it that way. And I think Jacob Fatu, well, do you want me to spoil it? Sure. He's going to turn very soon. You see the hints of Solo Sikoa screwing up with Jacob Fatu and all that. And I could see them having a big-time feud heading into the summer. But next, and I've been training this guy. I've been training, saying the prayers. He's been eating the vitamins. Gunther versus Pat McAfee.
Oh, man. I mean, Pat McAfee is very entertaining as they come. Like, obviously, he's a showman through and through. So I don't doubt for a second that he will put on a good performance. But it almost feels like a little bit of a waste because Gunther is such a pure wrestler. He's the ring general. He's the wrestler. He's probably one of the best wrestlers in WWE right now. And it almost feels like a waste to put him in a match with Pat McAfee, which would be more of a gimmicky, performance-based situation as opposed to a true wrestling match. But man, sure, I guess. I don't know.
Should I tell you what little birdies have told me about this match?
Of course. Always want the bird updates.
You like my little birdies. This could possibly set up, as you know, this guy may be returning, and the last couple months he's been relegated to NXT, and I'm talking about Corey Graves. Corey Graves could help, and he's a fellow broadcaster, so he could help. Michael Cole is going to get involved, but he's not going to physically get involved in this match, right? So, but you
could maybe we don't know. Maybe he'll,
Yeah, well, he'll go through the table. Put it that way, okay? He'll go through a table or whatever, but they can't do that to Michael Cole. But Pat McAfee, by the way, Pat McAfee and his wife Carmella. Announcing another pregnant again.
Corey Graves and his wife Carmella.
All right, Corey Graves and she's pregnant again.
Corey Graves is just single-handedly fixing the demographic problems in the United States.
That's it. So that's what I could see, but they cannot. This guy only lost to Sami Zayn and Uso. They can't make him lose to Pat McAfee, okay? So
no way in hell. Like I was telling you when we did our pre-WrestleMania show that, oh my gosh, like if Gunther loses at Mania, I'll cry, and you were like, well, bring tissues. So if
was I right again? The birdies always
Pat McAfee, I'll scream. I'll be screaming and crying. So please, WWE, don't do this to me, please, Mr. Triple H, sir.
I don't think Pat McAfee is going to win, but who knows? But here's I'll start the next match. It's Women Intercontinental title, Lara Valkyria versus Becky Lynch. Now, I'll tell you what my birdies have said, okay? Everybody's saying Becky Lynch is coming back, or Becky Lynch came back but took out, Bayley. They're saying Bayley could come back this Saturday. I don't believe Bayley's coming back this Saturday. I believe, again, Los Angeles, next Premier Live event. Bayley's from California. Los Angeles is in California. I think Bayley could come back for the pay-per-view in Los Angeles, but I do believe that Becky Lynch will win the Intercontinental Championship.
And then it would make even more sense for Bayley to come back and for Bayley to challenge for it. And historically, they just have so much more, again, history with each other. They came up together. They are both part of the Four Horsewomen, and it would definitely be a better angle. And that's no hate at all to Lyra Valkyrie. I think she's great, but it's time for the big dogs to fight for the title.
All right, so before we get to the main event, there's some matches being tossed about. We're doing this before SmackDown. Could be for the Women's Championship, Tiffany Stratton versus Nia Jax. Could be another match, Io Sky, Rhea Ripley, Raquel Perez or Roxanne Perez. And again, you saw this on Raw where Paul knocked out Jey Uso. Could be Jey Uso versus Paul there. But I think, again, it will be for Money in the Bank on June 7th. Now, for the undisputed WWE Championship, John Cena, can you see him or you can't see him, versus Randy Orton in his hometown of St. Louis. Who do you got in this one?
See, this one I cannot help but be excited for. Like, I am so pumped for this one. This is definitely the match. Well, this is the main event, obviously. But for me, sometimes I'll be more excited for a different match. But this one, I'm just so pumped for because, like I said, certified Cena hater. But in the history of his career, there have been two feuds that I've really, really liked. And several matches. Like, one of them was his feud with Bray Wyatt. But the other one was his whole entire rivalry with Randy Orton. I just feel like they have so much chemistry, and it's just amazing to watch two people wrestle have this incredible synergy and who can be very violent, very high contact, very raw and rough with each other. And I feel like this is the case of that. And for me, of course, there's also a layer of nostalgia because when their rivalry was at its peak, I was, a teenager. I was in my mid-teens. I was very wide-eyed about wrestling still, which I still am sometimes. I still get emotional sometimes, don't get me wrong. But for me, it was, still fresh. It was still, I was only watching WWE, so I was laser focused on WWE. I was, I think, 14 or 15. And when they had their I Quit match, for a very long time, it was my favorite match probably ever that I've ever seen. So I am extremely excited for this. Who would I want to win is one question. Who I see winning is another. Like you were saying in the beginning, I kind of already answered this question of I think John Cena will win, and I think he will remain champion for a little bit, and that wouldn't get broken down into smaller chunks, into smaller reigns. But I would love to see Randy Orton win. If that happens, I would rejoice.
I think we may get Randy Orton to win, and then they have a rematch in the next Premier Live event. But don't forget, John Cena has 6 months left in his career. And as I'll tell you another birdie, little birdie, and hasn't been announced. So you're hearing this exclusively, and this birdie better be right. Okay. Okay, Dwayne. Basically, there's no Premier Live event in December, and there hasn't been a Premier Live event in December for 4 or 5 years. I think this December they're going to do in Boston a Premier Live event or a special show, maybe a Saturday night's main event or something, centered around John Cena, and it will be called Ruthless Aggression. Take it to the bank, and I'll give you even more of a spoiler. This big birdie told me, and this probably will happen, that December, Ruthless Aggression, John Cena, instead of being a heel, will conclude the night as a face. And and everything like that. And again, exclusively, and this, you could take it to the bank. It is going to happen like that. That's all I'm saying.
I mean, I see that. I see why, because again, he's a legend, and he's had this long career that, he spent the whole entire time pretty much being a babyface, almost the whole entire time. And, the children love him, the women love him. Like, obviously, you to like completely retire and leave, and for good or for a long time, you would have to kind of conclude it at a high note, and you would have to come back to that hustle, loyalty, respect, to like, I'm a good guy, everybody loves me. Like, yeah, I see that. But I'm such a big fan of the heel run right now. I've been wanting it to happen for pretty much as long as I've been a wrestling fan, for as long as I've been watching WWE. So it feels so right now. So even the possibility of a face turn is like, oh man. But I understand. I see that.
So that's WWE Backlash happening this Saturday, May 10th, 7 p.m. Eastern from St. Louis. I'm going to conclude this by giving, in Toronto, there's the Maple Leafs playoffs, Florida Panthers. Adam Cope, or Copeland, Cope, whatever you want to call me, or him, he was telling me, watch AEW the next 6 to 8 weeks. They're changing. If you see, MJF is now teasing with the Hurt Business. MJF last night teased with Will Ospreay. Will Ospreay teased with Hangman Page. MJF. There's multiple angles being set for major stars here. So if you look at it, there's a pay-per-view in 2 weeks. Then there's a All In. There's talk, and I'll give you another little birdie, which is actually him. He told me that All Out will now be happening most likely in Chicago on September 13th, and that's when he's coming back.
Nice. Chicago is one beautiful wrestling crowd. Like, the shows in Chicago always feel special, so it's definitely going to be a big night.
And don't forget, next Wednesday, Beach Blast, or whatever they're called, Beach Break or whatever, Samoa Joe, John Moxley, in where? In Chicago.
Of course. And I actually went last year to Beach Break in Chicago. It was a wonderful experience. I don't think I'll be going this year, but I'll be there in spirit.
Wait a minute. May 14th, does anybody go in Chicago, because it's like Toronto, in Chicago to the beach on May 14th?
I don't think so.
Right? But I leave it like that because watch, something's going to happen that will lead to hopefully All Out in September in Chicago. That's all I'm going to tell you. That's all my birdies and everything like that. But you got to check out Xeina. Xeina, tell everybody what you're up to, especially Mondays, and tell them how to get a hold of you on social media.
Yes, you can find me on all social media, and that's Instagram, YouTube, X, formerly known as Twitter, at Xenia Did That. You see it on your screen right now, right here. And I do media development for wrestling professionals, and that's wrestlers, creators, broadcasters, photographers, referees, any person who has to do with wrestling who works in the wrestling business. I help them grow their following, increase their reach, monetize their social media, and just make more money and be happier, healthier, wealthier. I have my free webinars on Zoom every Monday at 2 p.m. ET. You can message me for an invite or email me or click the link in my bio and register for those webinars and lift yourself to superstardom. And I also do personal guidance. So again, however you can find me on social media or wherever, or email, reach out to me and let's see what I can do to help you go to the next level and become rich from pro wrestling, because it is very possible.
So in other words, she's saying right now you're in the mid-card level. You contact her and you're in the main event level every Premier Live event, every
and you're winning the WrestleMania main event for the WWE title.
Well, that means you're going to make the millions, right? You make the million, I may sign up with you, all right? So that's it. Is that Canadian or American? Because, if it's Canadian, you just have to wait $5,000. You can make $1 million. All right, so there you go. This Saturday, May 10th, 7 p.m. Eastern, Backlash from St. Louis. And don't forget AEW's Dynamite. It's going to be Dynamite in Chicago next Wednesday. Thank you, Xenia.
Thank you for having me.